dropping by. I'm outside in the carport and today I'm going to have a go at these two Maple Bonsai in a very simplistic way, because they don't need repotting, but what they do need is the weeds getting out and the top surface just taken off. And the reason I want the top surface taken off is so that I can water them better. Because what's happening at the moment is the water runs off before it gets a chance to soak in. So as far as the pots are concerned, I'm just going to surface rake them, get the weeds off, get the dead moss off, and just take a layer off so that the water goes into the pot rather than running off the edges. Certainly in the drier weather it's a big deal, you know, you sort of go round 3 or 4 times with the watering can because it just keeps running off. Now, there'll be very few roots in this region, very few. I'm quite happy to sacrifice the few that there are. So far I've come across next to none. They're deeper, they tend to go down. You can see it's a very gritty mix. Right. That'll do. Now I've got a lip all the way round, and when I water it, the water will sit in the pot and soak in rather than running off before it gets a chance. So that's that one done. And while we're here, we need to trim. And this is a rough spring trim. It's just a matter of looking for extensions that need to come off and dead bits. It's heading in the wrong direction. It's a very rough trim for this time of year. As I say, it's just a matter of taking the extensions out. Dead bits. Quite a lot of dieback. Still, that's maples for you. Anything sticking up too high. The trouble is with this tree, it's the lower branches have got too big a gap, so they don't work very well. I'm desperately trying to force them to fill in these gaps, basically. And the idea is that under normal circumstances, if there were branches hanging down, I would cut them off. But in this case, I'm leaving them to effectively lower the branch by thickening it underneath, which you wouldn't normally do. Those bits would be the first bits to come off. Sticky up bits, sticky down bits. But this is just a rough, very rough spring trim. Don't want to do too much. We'll give it another go later in the year, when what is going to grow is growing and what isn't. You can see what we're doing now. Right, that'll do for that branch. Next one round here. Not too much to come off of this one. Crossing branches, as I said, the sticking down bits, things like that. Could probably do with a repot this year, but I'm going to get away with it this year. Again, I'm not going to take too much off. And then we'll see where it shoots out. Right, this branch that points in my face, I need to thicken up. The idea of pruning this time of year on this one at bud break is that the sap has risen from the base of the pot in the depths of winter and is rising into the buds and pushing them out. And what you don't want is that sap being wasted, pushing buds on into leaves that you don't intend keeping, because it's just a waste. So we take them off now, and then all the energy will go into the bits that we do want, instead of going into the bits that we're going to cut off anyway. That's the idea of pruning this time of year. Save the energy. Got the sticky bits there, need to come off. That'll do. Right, this one. Not too much here, we're getting near the apex. I am actually trying to get a sort of shape to the apex this year if I can. Put the dead bits next to the trunk. Right, that's you done, you done, you done, you done, you done. And then we've just got these very long extensions round the back, and they're all coming right back. How are we doing? That'll do for that one. That'll do. It's just basically bringing back its shape. So I've taken, oh blimey, big long fat one there running right through the middle. We don't want you. So it's just basically keeping a dome shape and then following the curve down there. You could say that that bit needs to come off as a consequence of looking harder. Yeah, and then this side as well. What I would really like to do is to wire this downwards and this one as well, but then I'm going to have a really large gap here, so what I'm trying to do is get the tree to grow downwards instead. So that's that one done. And then effectively it's the same treatment for this one. You notice the weeds on this are dead. I've got a weed killer that spray, so it's controllable, don't go all over the garden, and it kills green, and then if it touches the soil it deactivates. So you can spray the surface of your bonsai pots to get all the weeds out. Well, kill them, you still need to get them out manually, but you deal with them basically, because too many weeds on the surface of the pot will deplete the tree of food, because the roots will get down in where the tree roots are, and obviously weeds are better at feeding and utilising everything that there is. That's why they're weeds, that's why they grow like that. They're very good at it, and in your pot they take away the goodness of your tree. And I tell you what I am going to look forward to this year, not having that giant silver birch out the back and all the winged seeds flying all around the garden and getting in all my pots and germinating. You can do without that. As I say, I'm just creating a lip there so that the water stays in the pot and doesn't keep running off. Right, now this one is gone a bit far really. Should have taken it off earlier because the leaves are actually opening here. But there's not too much to take off of this one. It's just these really long extensions, because I want this one to fill out. This one's getting some reasonable shape now. Not good, but better. It's a recovering tree from Roger's neglect over many years. And I've been trying to recover it for a few years now, and it's starting to come back. It's starting to get some shape, and it's filling out as well. You know, the branches are filling out. This is quite a nice branch now. It'll be a lovely layer when it leaves out. So I'm just looking for crossing branches and the like. Right, next branch up. This little one coming out of the trunk I want to grow, so I'm leaving that for now. Now what have we got here? We don't Can't keep that one, it goes right through the middle. We've got these great big long ones on here. Some people say you should take those long ones off before they get long, but when you're developing a tree, you need to draw the sap into the branches, and to do that you need growth. And those long branches like that draw the sap and they help thicken the branches up. So they do a job, they have a job to do. Now this top is a tangle at the moment. But you can see that, you know, I don't really need to worry about the vigour of this tree. If you see what I mean, it grows, and it grows very well. So as I say, I don't need to worry about the vigour of this tree, so I can get away without repotting this one. It's cold out here today. I can't keep all that. Too many branches too close together. Right, I think that'll do for this time round. Stick it up. I just got a bit round the back which to turn slightly. And that will do, I think. Just these few long ones here. And then that'll do. Yeah, so what I've done, same again, generating a layer here, and the branch is splitting near the base, so it's spreading. When the leaves come out, that branch will look good. This branch is still a little high, it could do with coming down. Yeah, it would look better. Oh, wonderful. Now it's broken. Wrong time of year to do that. I'm going to bind that and see if it will heal. They do sometimes, so I will have to bind that. Put tape round it and bind it with wire and see if it will heal. You soon tell if in 4 weeks' time the leaves are still there, then it's mending itself. Whoops, I'll say. That would completely ruin the shape of that tree if that branch is lost. So we will try and rescue it. So I'll put that to one side, I'll come back and do that in a minute. Oh, silly me. And then the last one is my hornbeam. Now this does need repotting, but I'm not going to do it today. What it desperately needs is the moss taken off. Now this is serving the opposite purpose to the ones we've just done, in as much as this is staying too wet. And I really ought to repot this one this year. But if I can get the surface moss off. Hornbeams are strange. They appear to be very like beech, but they're not. They come from damper areas under normal circumstances, and if they dry, they don't do very well at all. You've got to keep them moist through the growing season. But at the moment it's staying too moist because there's no evaporation of all this moss. And with all that moss, when I water it, the water runs off. So again, I'm taking the moss off of the trunk as best I can as well. Quite an old tree, this one. I've had it quite a long time, and it was quite a mature tree when I got it. So it's got quite a bit of age to it. You can tell by the size of the trunk. But it's had some, before I got it, it had some bad pruning. It was obviously quite a tall tree once, and whoever cut it down to get it down to the height they really wanted. Didn't do a very good job of it, so it's got a very bad apex, very distorted, which when it's in leaf is hidden, but in the winter time it doesn't look so good. Strictly speaking, although this one really ought to be repotted this year, if I do, it's already leafed out. If I repot now, I'm going to set that back, so I probably will leave it for this year. This tree nearly died last year. Look at the large bits of dieback we've got. I'm going to have to take quite large pieces off of this tree, which is a shame. A lot of the top just died, completely died. I'm going to push it back to where I can see some green, which in some cases is not at all, so there's some big branches going to have to come off. There's no green on that at all. Got to go careful though, because you get a dead bit, and then right on the very end is a bit of green, but then that's no use. There's no point in keeping it really. Just take off the dead bits, see what shoots out, and then come back to it. Right, so most of the apex has just got to go back. Push it back. Can't go back too far, you've got to leave some green, so back to at least one bud you must leave some green. Without the green, that bit of branch is highly likely to just die back completely. It's got to have something to draw the sap. How are we doing? Sidetrack there and started going down the sides instead of finishing the top. Rewind. Get some of these dead bits. I'm not going to go too mad on the grounds they could shoot out. Right, then we've got branches going all over the place here, so back to the green. Getting quite a nice layer on this this branch here now, and the lower branch below it is starting to work. Push you back. Take you off. Can't be pushed back, then it can come off completely. Alright, so we've got quite a flat top at the moment. That's okay. Dome wise, we're okay. Oh, massive piece of dead wood there. Try and get that off. And again there, lost some quite large branches last year. Right, so let's see what that does. Let's see where it pushes out. See what it does. and it should be a lot easier to wire now, and it should be a lot easier. It will dry out better. I know that sounds daft, but it's staying too wet. It needs to have some evaporation going on through the top, but it should have been repotted. It's a bit late with the leaves open like that. Right, so that's all I'm going to do for today. That's 3 tidied up, and as I haven't got that many, getting 3 done is quite good stuff. Whoops. Don't leave it all over. Oh, you just determined to fall over, aren't you? Oh, go on the floor then, you can't. My dad always used to say, put it down where it can't fall down. Right, I doubt if you saw much of that, but it's just to really get the season started. As I said, this tree has a reasonable shape to it. Down here is quite good. This branch is to fill this gap in, yeah? I don't need to worry about gaps up here. There's plenty of growth pushes out even from the trunk on this tree. This branch desperately needs to fill out. This is the weaker branch and it's my second branch, so this needs some work. So we've got our first branch, our second branch, and then our depth from that rear. It's a pair of branches actually, it's not one. And then we get up to these. Now these two, strictly speaking, shouldn't be allowed to be because they're what's called handlebars. They both come out from the same place. But again, you can see there's been some hacking. And then the bad bit on this tree is this long straight bit, which is bad and needs disguising. So this needs a lot more growth around here so that when it leaves out you can't see this bit. It's virtually gone in behind leaves. Anyway, there we go, that'll do for today. As I said, I'm not going to actually start repotting today. I may do tomorrow, but we've got some seriously cold weather coming down now, so I might actually just wait until it's over. We shall see. And I've got this black plastic here so that I can gather all this up together, and there are some bushes in the garden with nothing behind them. That's where this sort of stuff's going to go. So it's the equivalent of my old hedge. See you next time. Well, as this is a once in a lifetime event, I hope, I thought I'd better film it, otherwise I will get complaints, won't I? Now what we've got is a cracked branch, but it's cracked in as much as it's gone about halfway through, so the bark and the pathways that get the sap through this branch to the leaves are still intact on half of the branch. The other half, not so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some glue into there. Because the centre of the branch basically is hardwood. Right, so you can glue that, so there's no nutrients or moisture passes through that area. Then we'll put the branch back together, and hopefully the glue will hold it. And then what I'm going to do is tape it. 2 reasons I'm going to tape it. 1, to help hold it, and 2, I'm going to wire this tight. And the wire will badly mark the branch if it hasn't got a cushion. So what we'll do is we'll get some tape, and then what we'll do is we'll take a strip off of it because I don't want it that thick. I want to be able to handle it basically. So despite it sticking to my scissors and annoying me quite a lot, I'm just trying to work out what the noise is in the background. It's next door I've thrown a load of cardboard out, which the dustbin men probably won't take, because if it's not in the bin they don't like taking it, and they do it quite frequently, and then it comes back in again, and then they decide to either cut it up or stamp on it so that it does go in the bin. I don't know why they can't think to do it first time each time. So this is 2 reasons: to help hold the branch together and to give me a cushion for the wire I'm about to apply. so that it doesn't dig into the branch too much, but it's still got a bed to bite onto. And then we'll see what happens fairly quickly, because the leaves are slightly open. So if this is going to fail miserably, then the leaves will all die relatively quickly, and I'll have lost that branch, and I'd have to rethink the whole shape of the tree completely. To such an extent, I might even cut the trunk off at the first branch, hollow it out, and turn that first branch slightly upwards, and then repot it with like a shape to it, and start the whole tree again from the first branch. Seen that done enough times. I've got my wire cutters out here. Surely. Well, I know I picked them up. They're on the floor, buried in the dirt. That's how you lose tools. I was sure I bought that out. I'll use secateurs. And we will cut a length of wire off like that. I wouldn't do that with steel wire. And then I'm just going to put this round nice and tight. As I said, it will either work or it won't. It's worth a try. I've seen bigger branches than this broken that have mended themselves okay, and a maple is a soft wood, so it lends itself to healing probably better than hardwood does. Right, that's all I can do. So let's get the camera around so that you can turn the tree around, so you can sort of get an impression of what I've done. So that's the mend there. Branch is nice and firm, and it's got glue in there which will set quickly. That's Gorilla Glue, and we shall see what happens. There may end up being a scar, but that's a sacrifice I'm quite happy to make to save that branch. As I said, otherwise we might be looking at restyling the tree and having the tree coming up at an angle and effectively starting it again like that. Take the whole of the top of the tree off. I could even try an air layer from just below the base of that branch. Take the branch off and do an air layer. So we start a tree there. Try and get a second tree going. Anyway, that remains to be seen. See you next time.